There's a ton of different nodes inside of Davinci Resolve Fusion, and let's be honest, it could be super intimidating. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. You don't really need to know all of them. In fact, I'd go as far to say most of what you're gonna do will involve a lot of the same nodes. So instead of beating you over the head with the whole manual, I'm gonna give you 11 of the most practical nodes that you're gonna use inside of Davinci Resolve 18 so that you can create awesome effects for your videos. Now, even if you're familiar with some of the more basic nodes in Fusion, do not skip this first part because you might learn something super important that's gonna help you out a lot later. So starting off at the basics here, we have the background node. Now you can see the background node is attached to the media out node, and the media out is not going to be one on this list, but this is just one of those like necessity nodes that everything needs to end with the media out. Okay? Always. Don't give me the lip. Always. Now the background node is a solid color generator. So essentially what you can do with this is you can create different background colors. So you can see right here, we can just go ahead and click on this and affect the color of the background, do all of that fun stuff. But we can also go ahead and change the type from solid color to, let's just say, gradient. So we can have a gradient going from black to white. We can change the angle of the gradient just like this. And then we can, of course, change all of the different colors for the gradient so we can really customize what we want. Now, we also do have the different types of gradients. All right, so moving down the list to number 2, we have the Text Plus node. Now, of course, Text Plus is on this. It has to be. Literally, if you want to display text inside of Fusion, you need Text Plus. So I can just type in test, right? We can change the font, we can do all of that fun stuff, and change the different tracking of the characters, the line spacing. If we have multiple rows, we can change the anchor points so that our anchor point is right there. And we can also do write-on effects. So if you want your text to appear over a certain amount of time, you can just grab the write-on sliders, bring them down, and then keyframe an animation over time so that it slowly reveals your text. But you can see here we have a bunch more tabs. So we have the layout tab, which allows us to change the overall positioning of our text. Now over on transform, you can transform the different characters, the words, and the different lines, and do all that fun stuff. Over with shading, you can actually start adding some different elements to your text. So we can go just click on number 2 and let's enable that, and you can see it actually gives us an outline right there. So we can start playing around with the different colors. If we want to make it a dark outline, have it be outside only, we can adjust the thickness like that, and really just go on and do a lot of different stuff with Text Plus, which you can't do with the normal text effect on the edit page. So moving on to the third node in our list, we have the merge node. Now the merge node really just allows us to combine two different things together so that they show up on the same page. So without the merge node, you can't see the text, but once we add in the merge node and then connect the outputs together like this, you can see that both of them are displaying on the same page. So each one of these colored inputs right here has a purpose. So this right here, the green one, is the foreground, the yellow is the background, and the blue one is the effect mask input. Over on the merge node right here, we have different options. We can change the center, you can change the size and the different angles. This is gonna only affect the foreground element. So it's only gonna affect our text like this, and it's not gonna mess with our background. Now with the merge node, you can also change the apply modes or the blend modes. So this is where it really gets kind of fun, is you get to change the different blending modes so you can just cycle through them, and you'll start seeing that it affects our text in different kinds of ways. So as I'm moving down this list, you can see how the blending modes are affecting everything. All right, so moving on to number 4, as we are starting to get out of that beginner level area, we have the polygon mask node. Now, as most of you might know, we have a bunch of different mask nodes right here. One of them being the polygon mask. Now the polygon 1 node really just allows us to create custom masks or mask paths on any object or effect. I can go ahead and grab the output of the polygon 1 and connect it to the alpha input of the media 1 because I want to cut that building out, and you'll see right there, it just completely goes away. So what we can do is select the polygon 1, go up to Roto Assist right there, and ultimately just turns off the Polygon 1 node. But now we can create a custom mask just for this building. And in order for your mask to actually take effect, you need to connect it back to the original point. So once that's done, because we have the Roto Assist on, you're still not gonna see that it actually has cut it out. But if I turn it off, you can see that everything else goes away. Now on the inspector tab, we can change the different settings. We can change the softness of the edges like that. If we want softer edges, we can also expand it with border width like this. And really just start playing around with, let's say, the overall position of the mask, the size of it, the rotation. Let's say you want to just remove the building. Instead of isolating the building, you can invert it so that the building is removed and just the background is there. Another cool thing we can do with it is if we invert it back and we turn off solid like this, we get a couple more options. So if I bring up border width like this, you can start seeing that our border is showing. Now I can go ahead and grab the length like this and bring it all the way down, and you can see that our mask path actually disappears. So we can create an animation where it just draws on like that and maybe even fills itself in. So there is so many things you can do with the Polygon 1 node, and it really does start getting kind of wild at this point. There's so many different things you can do with it, so many different animations, and you're gonna use it a lot. Now, if you like learning new things about Davinci Resolve as much as I do, a like on this video would be super helpful. Then a lot of other people can actually see this video and start to learn new things about Fusion. So moving on to number 5, we have the transform node. Now inside of Fusion, let's say I want to move this circle around, but if I click on it, you see that I have zero ability to actually do that. But if I add in a transform node like I have here, all of a sudden that element gets the ability to move. You can change the position, the scale of it, the aspect of it. You can really just mess with all of these different parameters, and if you create an animation like this, right, one from side to the other, you can even enable motion blur, which is just gonna help that animation overall look a lot better and more realistic. So there's a ton of things that you can do with the transform controls, and I'm not lying, I personally use this probably the most. Like I use it a lot. So the transform node is a need to know node and probably gonna be one of your most used nodes out there. Now moving on to number 6, we have the color corrector node. Essentially, it allows you to change and manipulate the different colors of your image just like this. Now we can change the hue and the saturation of this whole thing so we can make it really gray. We can change the different contrast of it, the lift and gain, all of these different colors, and that's a super important thing you need to do with compositing and trying to blend all the stuff together. So this is a super important compositing tool that you're gonna wanna use. Now moving on to number 7, we have one of my favorite nodes here. It is the tracker node. Really, it just allows us to track one or more points on a piece of footage and then take that tracking data and just apply it to any node out there so that that node will also track with whatever you tracked. So when I go ahead and add my tracker in like this, you can see that I get a tracking point up here. If I just grab the top left corner of it, I can position it over her face like this and just adjust the square. And this inner part is going to be the actual area that you track stuff in. And this second box right here with the dotted line is going to be the search area. So if this loses its track, it's going to search in this area to try to acquire it again. Now in the inspector tab, we get a bunch of different controls right here, but essentially what you're gonna need to do is under adaptive mode, go to best match, and then go to match tolerance and bring this down a bit, because we wanna make sure that we are only getting the best tracking points here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this track to the end button right here, and you'll see that it's going to just track this lady all the way to the end of the clip. So once we're done tracking her, we can go over to operation right here, and then under operation, select match move. Now to apply the tracking data, I'm gonna grab a transform node right here, drag it down, and then I'll apply the tracking data to the actual transform node. So right click under center, go to connect to tracker 1, and then unsteady position. So now we can see that as she moves, the text actually stays with her. So there's a lot of things we can do with this type of tracking right here, and it is a super important part of my personal compositing and overall video creation process. So now moving on to number 8, we have the displace node, and this essentially allows us to just use a map image or let's say an overlay to displace a video or an image. In Fusion, you can see that we have our cyber glitch overlay, and it's nice and all, but you can see it doesn't actually affect her and it doesn't look like she's glitching. So I'm gonna delete this merge one right here and I'll replace it with the displace node right here. So the displace node is actually taking all of the bright parts of our cyber glitch overlays, and you can see right here, and it's warping it. So if I want to make it glitch even harder, I can just up the refraction strength. The problem is now is we actually kind of just lose our glitch overlay. Well, until we go ahead and grab the output of the cyber glitch overlay and we can add it to the output of the displace node and create a merge node like this. Now, all we're seeing is our overlay, but if we go up to the apply mode and I click screen, you'll see that, hey, now we're getting the best of both worlds here. I can even bring down the blend mode if it's a little much. So we're getting her displacing and the glitch all together because of the displace node. Now, it is my goal to make your video creation process as streamlined as possible while improving your overall quality. And with our new cinematic titles, I think that we really hit the nail on the head with this one. We looked at the most popular movie titles and TV shows, and we recreated 50 of them inside of Davinci Resolve so that you can simply add movie level titles to your videos. So check them out in the description below. So the 9th Fusion node that you need to know about is the planar tracker. Now this allows us to track and match the perspective and movement of an object in our footage so that we can make, let's just say, text or really anything appear as though it's part of our scene. So with the planar tracker, we can go ahead and actually identify a certain plane that we want to track. So I want to add some text or even stabilize my shot based on the movement of her backpack right here. So after I've drawn an area that I want to track, I can go to tracker and then I'm going to move to hybrid point / area. After that, I'm going to make sure that it's set to 0, and if it's not set to 0, I can set the point. Your reference time has to match whatever frame you're currently tracking on. So after this, I'm gonna hit track to end. Now, once we've done that, we can actually create a planar transform right here, which is essentially just all of the tracking data inside of a node. And if I wanna add some text on her bag, I can go ahead and grab the text node, merge it in with everything else, and then add my planar transform in between the text and the merge like this. And then the text is gonna be locked onto her backpack. So really, there are a ton of different things you can do with planar tracker, including like sticking objects to walls and replacing license plate numbers and just doing a lot of cool things like that. So now moving on to number 10, we have Gaussian blur. Now Gaussian blur it's a blur, right? Why this is important is because you want to blur different things out, you want to add some extra effect and change the perspective up of your shot, you're going to need Gaussian blur to do that. So for example, right here, I'm gonna grab my media in one and add it into my Gaussian blur. After that, I'm gonna merge it together like this. Now we want the Gaussian blur to actually show up, but our inputs are reversed. So hitting Control T, our Gaussian blur is now gonna show up because it's technically in the foreground. If we want to affect the overall strength of the blur, in the inspector tab, we can just affect the overall strength. So I wanna just blur this whole screen right there. I'll grab a polygon 1 node and connect it to the merge node right here. And then with the polygon 1 selected, I will draw my mask around the frame. Now you can see, hey, that right there, that's blurring it. That is exactly what we want to do. So with Gaussian blur, you can do a lot with it, and overall, some need to know node. So moving on to our 11th node right here, we have the DVE node. Now I personally love this node so much. Why? Because it allows me to just pretend that I'm using 3D cameras, but I'm actually not. So I'll tell you what I mean. So I have the DVE node in between my media in, which is just this image right here, and my media out. I can change the Z move, which is essentially just the scale in, and then under rotation, I can start messing around with the overall angles and the perspective that we're actually viewing. So we can start creating some really cool 3D or 2.5D animations with this. And honestly, I use this a lot. I kind of like it. It's really fun. So once you've added all of your effects, you're gonna need to actually export it, and you have to export it with the right settings so that your video doesn't look bad or sound bad. Luckily, I go over all of the settings that you need to know right here to export your video properly, or you can check out another video instead. Till the next one, peace.